Normally, if it's college, no, normally if it's Thursday night, it's college football Thursday. But for the next couple of weeks, say yeah, for it's college football Wednesday. Hello, friends, and welcome to this special Wednesday night edition of College Football Thursday, right here on the Tone 25. I am your host, as always, Anthony Floyo, joined alongside Michael Bullock. We were gonna start 30 minutes ago, but we waited for MF because I thought we initially agreed on 10 o'clock time slot, but I don't see MF. Maybe he had last minute work commitments beyond his control. I don't know, but if he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully see him tomorrow for our special Thursday edition of NFL Friday. So with all that being said, let's get into the action. We got some big matchups this week. So we started off with a Friday night matchup. The number 25 Boise State Broncos squaring off against the New Mexico Lobos from Dream Style Stadium. I've never heard that. I never heard of that one before. It'll be at 9 o'clock Friday night over on the CBS Sports Network. Carter Blackburn with Aaron Taylor and of course I would have to assume John Schriffen will be there. Maybe Rick Neuheisel. I don't know because I know Neuheisel's been with them the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure it'll be just those two, along with Schriffen on that game Friday night. And Boise State, a 19.5 to 20-point favorites. So the Lobos have lost 5 straight games. New Mexico still has a positive turnover ratio, and they will be in spoiler mode against the Broncos. There is a risk for a letdown for Boise State coming off a big win against Fresno State. But I think the Broncos will get through that with the big showdown against Utah State coming up. So I'm going to go with Boise State to win this one. My final score, 38-14. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. Boise State and New Mexico, Friday night. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Boise State as well. My final score, I'm gonna go 38-17 is gonna be my final score. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to the Saturday slate of games, and here's the one I think Florio is gonna be one of, if not the Zonk game of the week.
Oh, that's an understatement. Your number one team in the land, your reigning and defending undisputed national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. They'll be at home against the Bulldogs of the Citadel. Ooh, oh yeah. SEC Network, high noon, and working that one will be Dave Neal, DJ Shockley, and Dawn Davenport. We've seen a lot of high spreads on this show, but Alabama, get this, Bullock, 52.5 point favorite. What do you think?
I can never remember a spread being that big.
Got to be the highest of all time.
It has to be. I mean, I can't even think of any other, but Alabama, whatever the case may be, is going to wipe the floor with the Citadel. Nothing more to say.
Citadel is 4-5 and will be the tune-up game for Alabama heading into the Iron Bowl. Tua Tagovailoa will not take a snap in the fourth quarter here. Should he really take a snap at all? I'm going to go as far as, of course, Alabama's going to win, but I'm going to go as far as to say they're going to get a third straight shutout. Bold prediction. So 48-0. That's all I'm going to say on that. 48-0 in favor of Bama. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next matchup. High noon on ABC, one of our sleeper matchups of the week. The number 10 Ohio State Buckeyes squaring off against the Maryland Terrapins at Capital One Field at Maryland Stadium. This one will be at high noon over on ABC. And we got Dave Patch, Greg McElroy, and Tom Luginbill on the call. And we have Ohio State as a 14.5 to 15-point favorite. Ohio State should come in and take care of business, though nothing is guaranteed after the Buckeyes put together less than complete efforts against Nebraska and Michigan State in each of the last 2 weeks. Urban Meyer will most likely try to get running backs Mike Weber and J.K. Dobbins going after the Buckeyes' relative struggles rushing the ball the last 2 weeks, averaging 174.5 yards a game the last 2 weeks. Maryland, with its 64th ranked rush defense, 161.4 surrender to game, is the team to do it against. So nothing really more to say on this. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I say Ohio State will win. My final score 38-20. So the bullet. I think this will be the last tune-up for Ohio State before the big one.
Yeah, this is like you said, a big a tune-up here for Ohio State before their big showdown next weekend with their rival, the Michigan Wolverines. So I expect Ohio State to go in with momentum here. Ohio State to me will win this one. I'm going to say my final score is going to be 38-20. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next high noon game, and this could be another Zonk game.
Well, there will be a few of these because a lot of the games in our slate this week are, dud enhancement games.
Well, I guess you can say it's probably tune-up games before what could be like the final games of the regular season.
That's exactly right, and this is another high noon matchup. The number 13 Florida Gators at home at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville. They're going to be hosting the Vandals of Idaho. Okay, and this game will be over on ESPN University. We got Kevin Brown and Andre Ware on the call, and Florida's a 40-point favorite. Yeah, Bullock, you heard me right. Florida is a 40-point favorite.
Yeah. I'm making it short and sweet here. Florida's going to have no problems with Idaho, I should say. My final score, I'm going to say 47-7. Florida, what's yours?
The Gators are still in the conversation for a New Year's Day 6 bowl bid. Jordan Scarlett and Lemisal Pirine both went for more than 100 yards against South Carolina last week. Can they do it again? Florida wins easy, 41-10. Nothing more to say. Let's move on. Another high noon matchup over on the Big Ten Network. We got the number 14 Penn State Nittany Lions squaring off against the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers at highpoint.com Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. Like I said, Big Ten Network will have it. We got Chris Vosters and Sean O'Hara. First time I've ever called those names. Penn State opening up as a 28-point favorite. The Scarlet Knights have improved a touch, but they are coming off a physical loss against Michigan. The Nittany Lions, like Florida, still have fringe New Year's Day 6 hopes. Trace McSorley is nearing the end of a storied career with the Nittany Lions. The offense does the job here. I got Penn State easy, 44-14. Penn State all over Rutgers. Nothing more to say. Bullock, we saw what your Michigan boys did to Rutgers. I got Penn State to do the same.
Yeah, Penn State will do the same. My final score, Penn State 48, Rutgers 14. Nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next high noon game.
And it's another Zonk matchup. The number 17 Kentucky Wildcats at home against the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee. Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky. This is going to be on SEC Plus or the SEC Network alternate. Dave Lamont and Ray Bentley will have the call. And Kentucky is opening up as a 16-point favorite. So Bullock, I think I know who you like here, but give us your thought.
I guess we could say, the offense for Kentucky has basically been struggling, especially after the back-to-back losses the last 2 weeks against Georgia and Tennessee. But I do expect the offense to bounce back against Middle Tennessee State and what is going to be their final home game of the regular season. And I do expect Kentucky to bounce back and give that home crowd a good send-off that they will not forget. And, of course, give them some momentum going into their final game before, of course, the bowl season begins. So Kentucky wins. I'm gonna say, um, I'm gonna go 34-17. It's gonna be my final score. So Florio, I give it to you.
This is a battle of teams headed in different directions. Kentucky has lost back-to-back games, but still can get to 9 wins on the season. The Wildcats will be up against a Blue Raider team that has won 4 straight games. It's a different team than the one that was blown out by Vanderbilt and Georgia this season. So I'm going with Kentucky. I agree with you on that. I'm going to go 30-19, Kentucky over Middle Tennessee. So moving on to our next matchup. This is the high noon affair over on ESPN. We have the number 21 Mississippi State Bulldogs at home at Davis Wade Stadium at Scott Field in Starkville. They're going to be hosting the Arkansas Razorbacks, a la State of Sorrel. And it'll be over on ESPN. We have Adam Amin, Rod Gilmore, and Quint Kessenich on the call. Mississippi State opening up as a 21-point favorite. So the Bulldogs are heavy road favorites. But that's always risky after coming off a physical game against a team like Alabama. The Razorbacks haven't lost by more than 14 points since the Alabama game on October 6th. Mississippi State won 28-21 last year. And I'm going to go with that same score and them to win again. So I will go Mississippi State once again, 28-21. And forgive me, I meant to say heavy home favorites, not road favorites. So nothing more to say on that. So 28-21, Mississippi State over Arkansas. Nothing left to say except, Bullock, I mean, you got to feel for our dear friend, the lovely Miss Alex Sorrell. You got to feel for her. For the hard time here.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, she can look on the bright side, Florio. I mean, at least Mississippi State's going to a bowl game, so that should definitely make her feel a little better. So, yeah, I got Mississippi State winning as well. I'm going to say 31-21 is going to be my final score, so let's move on to what is our final high noon game.
And it's a sleeper matchup. This is another one of those sleeper matchups that sneak up on you out of nowhere that have potential to be actually something good. The number 22 Northwestern Wildcats squaring off against the Minnesota Golden Gophers at TCF Bank Stadium in Minnesota. You remember that's where the Vikings played before they moved into the big US Bank Stadium after they got rid of the Metrodome. That's where they'll be for that one. This one will be on the Big Ten Network as well. Or an affiliate of the Big Ten Network. Brandon Gaudin and Glenn Mason will be on the call. I believe Elise Menaker is on the sidelines. I've taken a liking to that one over recent weeks. And let me see. Wow, very close spread. And believe it or not, Minnesota is actually a 1 to 1.5 point favorite at home. So I'm surprised to hear that, Bullock, considering Northwestern has locked up a spot in the Big Ten championship game, if you can believe that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little surprising that that Minnesota comes in as a favorite. Maybe the only reason I could see it is maybe they think that Northwestern's not going to play a lot of its players, especially you want to save them for the conference. The Big Ten title game, but I don't expect Pat Fitzgerald to do that. I mean, he's gonna have his team out there. He wants his team to have good momentum going into that Big Ten title game in about a couple of weeks. So as much as I want to see the upset happen, but I got to go with Northwestern in this one. I'm going to say 27-24. Northwestern wins, continues its momentum going into that Big Ten title game. Florio, what's yours?
The Wildcats have already won the Big Ten West, so this amounts to not much more than a tune-up for Northwestern as it gets ready for the winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game in Indianapolis. Northwestern has played well since starting the season 1-3, winning 5 of its last 6 games, the lone loss to Notre Dame. Minnesota is on the opposite track, losing 2 of its last 7. Look for the Wildcats to take advantage of the Gophers' porous defense. So I think it'll be close early, but I think Northwestern's going to pull away and win it. So I'm going to say Northwestern will get the win here. I'm going to go Northwestern wins 31-14. So nothing more to say. Let's move on. A rare 1:30 kickoff. Yeah. The number and another sleeper matchup here. The number 19 Utah Utes squaring off against the Colorado Buffaloes at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. This one will be over on the Pac-12 network, and on the call for that one will be JB Long and Jeremy Bloom. I don't know if there's a sideline reporter. If I missed him or her, I apologize. I'm running with limited information here because we're doing a Wednesday show instead of our Thursday show, but it's all right. Let me see. Utah opening up as 7 to 7.5 point favorites. So let me look for this one. Find the notes I have for this one. Okay. The Utes can clinch a share at the top of the Big 12 of the Pac-12 South, rather, but they still need Arizona State to lose in order to get to the Pac-12 championship game. Colorado has lost 5 in a row, and last week was the first one by more than 14 points. Utah is the more consistent team. So I'm going to say Utah will win. My final score, 34-24, Utah over Colorado. Nothing more to say. Bullock, Utah's got a chance to get a share of the Pac-12 South with a win here. So what do you think, Bullock? Come on in. Let's get your thoughts. Utah and Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely another sleeper game. I mean, Utah is they're they're in the hunt for a Pac-12 title. I mean, well, Pac-12 South title, and of course a spot in the Pac-12 title game. So, yeah, and yeah, I mean the yeah, I mean the thing is they do have some injuries. I mean they're out without starting quarterback Tyler Huntley with a broken collarbone and running back Zach Moss for the rest of the regular season. So, but Jason Shelley has really stepped up, and Armand Shine did well running the football against Oregon last week. So I do expect that momentum to continue for Utah, but Colorado will give them some fits here. So I'm going to say my final score is going to be 31-24. Utah beats Colorado. So, Florio, I give it to you as we move on to our 2:00 game.
And we are one game, and this is the last game before we get
the last game before the big one we're talking about.
Yeah. This is all right. We have the number 23 Utah State Aggies squaring off against the Colorado State Rams at sunny Lubbock Field at Colorado State Stadium. That's another one I've never heard of. This will be on AT&T Sports, RM or SW. We have Drew Goodman and Sed Bonner on the call, and Utah State opening up as 28 to 28.5 point favorites. Yeah, Bullock, this is the tune-up for Utah State before they have their big showdown with Boise.
Yeah, and I expect them to have no problem with Colorado State before their big showdown with Boise next week. So Utah wins in a laugher. Florio, it's yours.
The Aggies are an incredible 8-1 against the spread, and that includes a 31-point cover against San Jose State last week. The Rams have lost 3 in a row, including a 49-10 loss to Nevada last week. Really nothing more to say here. I got Utah State winning. I agree. I'm going to go 45-21 Utah State over Colorado State.
But now it's time.
You ready?
I'm ready if you are, Florio.
You know me. I'm born ready. Let's go. Game of the week. Right here, right now. 2:30 on NBC. The number 12 Syracuse Orange squaring off against my number 3, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Not in South Bend, not at Notre Dame Stadium. Oh, no. This is part of the Shamrock series. And we are going to a home of my baseball team. Yes. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. NBC, Notre Dame. You know who's working it. You don't need a dirt sheet. You know who's working this. Same crew as always. My man, Mike Tirico. My other main man, Doug Flutie. And one of my all-time favorite sideline reporters, the lovely and beautiful Catherine Tappan. Oh, love her. This is going to be a lot of fun. And bear with me for a minute because I want to screen share something that I found today that I posted on Facebook. I shared it with Bullock and MF, and I hope they saw it. I mean, ooh.
I did see it, Florio, and all I can say is that looks awesome.
Right? I mean,
and I'll tell you what, I know it is the home team, but I think the home field advantage is going to go to Syracuse.
Yeah, I can definitely give you that. I mean, you know, especially with it being, you know, New York area, I can definitely, I see where you're coming from there, Bullock, without a doubt. But all right, here we go. Before we get into our business here, man, I wish MF was here. I really wanted to. I was hoping he would be here so we could, you know, all bask in this. Take a look at that view. I mean,
there it is, folks. That is what it looks like, and what Notre Dame and Syracuse will be stepping into Saturday afternoon at Yankee Stadium.
No disrespect to your Fenway Park, Bullock, but that's the holy grail right there. Yankee Stadium right there.
It's hard to argue that.
Absolutely. I mean, we're probably looking at in excess of probably 40 to 50,000. Maybe they added some more seats. I don't know, but just take one more quick look at that, folks, before we drop it, before we get into our business there. I mean, just, is that something? Take a look at that. That's just incredible. Okay. Now to the business at hand. Notre Dame opening up as a 10 to 10.5 point favorite. I'm not at all surprised that they're the favorite. So, all right, here we go. This game on paper looks like Notre Dame's last real roadblock to an undefeated regular season. Irish quarterback Ian Book, with a rib injury, is likely to play. But Notre Dame, however, saw that Brendan Wimbush was more than capable of coming on to start against Florida State. Whoever starts at quarterback plus running back Dexter Williams should have no problem gashing an Orange defense that ranks 98th nationally by giving up 430 yards a game. But how will Notre Dame handle an offense led by quarterback Eric Dungey that has averaged 46.5 points per game in its last 3 outings, all wins? The Irish rank 15th nationally in points allowed a game with 18.7. This one has the makings of a great game, but I think Notre Dame's talent helps the Irish pull away in the second half. I mean, who knew this showdown at Yankee Stadium would be the game of the week? Ian Book's status will be in question, but the bigger question is whether the Irish can flex their muscles against the Syracuse offense that has averaged 46.5 in its last 4 games. Prepare to be entertained. I think this game will be a 5-star classic. It's going to be chock full of Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. But at the end of the day, no disrespect to Syracuse whatsoever. And yes, I'm scared for this game too. You thought I was scared about Northwestern? I'm even more scared about this one. But I do have enough faith in my team to pull it out. So I will say Notre Dame will win, but they will win barely. 38-34. Notre Dame over Syracuse. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. This is what the work. as Jesse Ventura famously said at WrestleMania 5, and you've heard me say this on our show many of times, this is what the words main event were meant for, because this is the main event. Brother, it don't get no bigger.
Yes, I mean, this is why everybody's going to be tuned in Saturday afternoon for this big game. I mean,
better believe it.
I mean, this has college football playoff implications for Notre Dame.
Big time.
Because if they win, their chances continue to increase. But if they lose this one, it may be tough for them to get into that college football playoff. But you got that big crowd at Yankee Stadium. I think it's going to be a mixed bag. I mean, some will be some Syracuse Orange fans, while others, I mean, will also be Notre Dame fans that'll be in attendance. Yeah, so it's got a big fight, a big football game feel that we're all looking forward to. I mean, I certainly cannot wait for this, and yeah, I mean, the thing for Syracuse, if they have any chance of pulling this off, I think one key, and it's for any game, they need to get off to a fast start. If they can get off to a fast start, get like a touchdown, and have a good defensive stand, they may be able to do it. Whether that happens or not, that remains to be seen. Yeah, I mean, we gotta wait and see what happens with Ian Book. I mean, he may not be able to go with that rib injury. I mean, Brandon Wimbush might be asked to. Ian Book could not play this. I mean, last week, like you said, but he did return to practice. But we're gonna have to wait and see how he is. So, yeah, I mean, this is gonna be tough. I mean, and that defense for Notre Dame is definitely going to be tested against that Syracuse offense. Like you said, has been averaging almost 47 points the last 4 weeks. So, man, this is a tough one. But at the end of the day, I have to go with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 38-34. But I would not be surprised if Syracuse does pull off the upset. Nothing more to say. Ariel, let's move on to the first of our two 3:30 matchups.
Yes, indeed. And before we do that, Notre Dame has played 26 games at Yankee Stadium. The last one was the 2013 Pinstripe Bowl against Rutgers, which they won. And Notre Dame has won 17 games at Yankee Stadium. And 17, I believe their record is 17-4, and hold on, 1, 2, 3. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe their record is 17-6-3 all time at Yankee Stadium. 3 ties. They haven't lost a game at Yankee Stadium, ironically, since losing to Syracuse in 1963. So, but Notre Dame has won 3 straight at Yankee Stadium. 1969 against the Army, 45-0. 2010, also against the Army, 27-3, and of course the Pinstripe Bowl in 2013 against Rutgers, 29-16. So 17-6-3. That's a pretty good record. Yankee Stadium's been very good to Notre Dame over the years. So we'll see what happens, and I'm hopeful that we can make it 18-6-3. So, boy, howdy, is that going to be something else? So is this one. 3:30 on ABC. The number 9 West Virginia Mountaineers squaring off against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Boone Pickens Stadium, Stillwater, Oklahoma. This one will be over on ABC. And on the call for that one will be Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe. And we have West Virginia opening up as 4.5 to 5-point favorites. So, Bullock, I mean, you think that Syracuse Notre Dame is good? This one's going to be just as good.
Yeah, and West Virginia, I mean, they are very wary of this Oklahoma State team. I mean, yeah, Oklahoma State is 5-5, but I mean, they are a big threat when it comes. I mean, offensively. I mean, that's something West Virginia is definitely going to have to keep an eye on. I mean, but here's the big thing. I mean, a victory would give West Virginia a shot at its first Big 12 title in a November 23rd clash against number 6 Oklahoma. So that's what's at stake when it comes to West Virginia here. So yeah, so to me, I mean, this could be a good one, but I got to go with West Virginia in this one. I'm going to say 41-38, West Virginia beats Oklahoma State. So, Florio, it is yours.
Another Big 12 game that promises to feature offensive prowess and not much in the way of defense. The Mountaineers just glassed TCU in a 47-10 beatdown, while Oklahoma State lost the heartbreaker. Lower that, please. Very You live for total condition. It's the worry-free firm. There we go. Okay. Another Big 12 game that promises to feature offensive prowess and not much in the way of defense. The Mountaineers just glassed TCU in a 47-10 beatdown, while Oklahoma State lost the heartbreaker in Bedlam off a botched 2-point conversion. We know both teams can score, and we know both are led by talented quarterbacks in Will Grier, in West Virginia's Will Grier, and Oklahoma State's Taylor Cornelius. But I think Grier is better, and I think the Cowboys will have an emotional letdown game after losing to rival Oklahoma. West Virginia must pass one more road test to set up a Black Friday showdown against Oklahoma and Morgantown, and Will Grier might have to lead another game-winning drive in Stillwater to do that. The Cowboys have won the last 3 meetings in this series, but must bounce back from a close loss in Bedlam. At least we know if somebody has a chance to go for 2 to win, they will. And, of course, we know what West Virginia can do. So, it'll be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a close affair. But I say West Virginia will eke it out. I'm going to go 41-34, West Virginia over Oklahoma State. So, oh, yeah, that's right. Bullock already went. So, Bullock started that one. So, all right, let's move on to the other 3:30 matchup. The number 20 Boston College Eagles squaring off against the Florida State Seminoles at Bobby Bowden Field at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. Over on ESPN2. Beth Mowins, Anthony Becht, and Rocky Boyman will have the call. Boston College opening up as 1.5 to 2-point favorites. So the Seminoles looked miserable in a 29-point loss to Notre Dame, and the Seminoles need this one to reach a bowl game for a 37th straight season. Boston College is the better team, but the Eagles will have to bounce back after a loss to Clemson. Will the letdown factor be enough for the upset? There is a chance. Florida State's 36-year bowl streak is in serious danger heading into a matchup against Boston College. The Seminoles need to win both this and the next game against rival Florida to extend the streak to 37 years. Boston College could be without starting quarterback Anthony Brown, who was hurt against Clemson on Saturday, or last Saturday, but the Eagles still have the ACC's third leading rusher to lean on in A.J. Dillon. That's a relative strength for the Seminoles, who rank in the top 40 in rush defense this season. It'll be close, but I'm going, for the first time tonight, I'm going to pull an MF. I'm going with FSU to keep its bowl hopes alive for one more week. final score, I'm going to go 21-17 Florida State to upset Boston College. So out of all the games, I think this one has the highest potential for an upset. So nothing more to say. So Bullock, sorry I had to mute you there, but your background noise was very distracting, if I got to be honest. So, all right, Bullock, I'm
Oh yeah. I didn't even know that I wasn't even muted.
Yeah, but nonetheless, your thoughts on your other team, BC, against the Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely Boston. Yeah, I mean, Boston College definitely had a tough go of it last week against the number two, uh, with the number two Clemson Tigers. So yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be a tough one for them, but yeah, they have a chance to really bounce back, and yeah, and I do expect them to bounce back against Florida State. I mean, I think I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the running game will definitely get back on track here. So, yeah, nothing. There's really nothing more for me to say. I expect Florida. I mean, not Florida, Boston College to win this one. My final score. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 31-24 is gonna be my final score. So, Florida, let's move on to my team, and of course another Zonk game.
Not necessarily Bullock. This is one that you might want to keep an eye on. Yes, it is your number 4 Michigan Wolverines at home in the Big House, Michigan Stadium, Ann Arbor, hosting a not so bad, not as bad as you think, Indiana Hoosier team. Um, this one will be over on Fox Sports 1, and Fox's college football A team will be on the call for this one. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, the All-American girl Jenny Taft, and the spread favors Michigan. 28.5-point spread for Michigan. Now Bullock, I mean, I understand why you would consider this a zonk because of the spread, but Indiana's not as bad as you think. They're really not. They're a solid team.
Yeah, yeah. Come to think of it, I mean, I didn't even think of that. I mean, yeah, I mean, Indiana's not as bad as most people think. I think the only reason why they're Michigan is 28-point favorites because they think highly of this Michigan team. I mean, I think this could be a trap game for them and something maybe so, something. I mean, a team for Michigan to keep an eye on. I mean, they just need to basically do their job and basically, I mean, keep their foot on that gas pedal, and the defense really has to step up and control Indiana because if there are any letdowns, there's a chance this could be an upset. But to me, I got Michigan winning this and getting some momentum going into their big showdown with Ohio State next week. So I got Michigan winning. So Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, the Hoosiers. And here's another reason why, Bullock. The Hoosiers. Indiana has played Michigan tough the last 2 seasons. Michigan is 5-1 against the spread at home and looking to build some momentum for the game, or it's the game, Ohio State. Some injuries on defense might factor in here, but nonetheless, I got Michigan winning. I think they'll have an easier time with them this time. I'll go 38-14, Michigan over Indiana. So nothing more to say. Let's move on. Now we can go to another Zonk game here, Bullock. 4 o'clock over on the SEC network. The number 5 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs at home at Sanford Stadium in those infamous hedges. They're going to be hosting the Minutemen, the UMass Minutemen, over on the SEC network. Taylor Zarzar and John Congemi with the call, and Georgia opening up as 41.5-point favorites. Yeah. The Bulldogs are on pace to reach the SEC championship game with a chance to make the college football playoff. And this is a tune-up before the rivalry game against Georgia Tech. This spread is absurd, but UMass has allowed 55 or more points in 5 games this season. So nothing more to say here. I got Georgia and Georgia big, 51-10, made in Georgia Bulldogs. Nothing more to say. Bullock, you got to feel bad for UMass, man. They're going to be in for a long afternoon in those infamous hedges in Athens.
Yeah, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Minutemen, and yeah, it's not going to be a pretty one. I got the Maine and Georgia Bulldogs winning this one big time. I'm going to say my final score is going to be, yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with it. It's just going to be a laugher, so nothing more to say. Let's just move right along to our next game.
4:30 over on the Pac-12 network. The number 18 Washington Huskies will be at home at Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium hosting the Beavers of Oregon State. And on the call for that one will be Ted Robinson, Yogi Roth, and I believe Jill Savage works with them. Either Jill Savage or Cindy Brunson. I know it's one of them. But I think it's Jill Savage. But anywho, the spread favors Washington, another big spread. It's a 33.5-point spread for Washington. Yeah, Bullock, I think we all know how this one goes down.
Yeah, we definitely know. We definitely know for sure how this is going to go down. It's going to be Washington all over Oregon State. So nothing more to say. Flory, what's yours?
The Huskies can still win the Pac-12 North, and it's the home finale for a group that has helped usher in success under their coach, Chris Peterson. Oregon State Beavers coach Jonathan Smith knows the tendencies, but the emotion will take over. Washington wins and wins big. I'm going to go 48-14. Washington over Oregon State. Now we move on to our primetime slate, 7 o'clock over on ESPN. The number 2 Clemson Tigers in another sleeper matchup going up against the surprising Duke Blue Devils at Memorial Stadium in Death Valley over on ESPN. And on the call for that one will be Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Todd McShay. We got Clemson opening up as 28.5-point favorites. Since the scare against Syracuse, the Tigers have covered the spread in each of their last 5 wins, and those lines have been by 17.5 points or more. The Blue Devils haven't lost by more than 17 points this season. These teams haven't met since 2012. But as great as Duke's been this year, Clemson is just that much better. So I think Clemson should win rather easily. I say Clemson will win 40-14. Nothing more to say. I mean, Bullock, I know the Dukies have been great and all, but they're going up against Clemson in Death Valley. Yeah, how's that going to work out?
Yeah, not too well for Duke or for anybody that has to go into Death Valley and face a very good Clemson Tiger team. And Duke is just going to be what most people have been when they walk into Death Valley and facing Clemson. And you want to know what they'll be, Florio?
What will they be?
Just another victim. That's what they'll be.
I forgot to do that with Alabama, right? Alabama, next victim. Citadel.
Yeah, they'll just be another victim. So
right.
Clemson wins big. Let's just move on to our next primetime game.
7:30 over on Fox. The number 6 Oklahoma Sooners at home at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman. They're going to be hosting the Kansas Jayhawks. This one will be on Fox, and it'll be Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, Holly Saunders on that call. And we have, oh my goodness, another big spread. Oklahoma opening up as 36-point favorites. Bullock, last time I checked, this ain't no basketball game. We all know how damn good Kansas is in the hoops, but not in football. Sorry.
Yeah, Kansas may be good in basketball, but when it comes to football, not so great. The Oklahoma Sooners are going to run all over Kansas, and it's going to be Boomer Sooner, baby. So, Florio, it's yours.
It's the Sooners' home finale, and they will continue to score bundles of points with Kyler Murray trying to make a November run to the Heisman Trophy. But what about the defense? Oklahoma is up against an inferior opponent, but getting the defense going will be a point of emphasis here. Oklahoma wins big, 58-17. Oklahoma all over Kansas. Nothing more to say. We have another Zonk game here. Thankfully, it should be our last one. 7:30 kickoff. We have the number 7 LSU Tigers at their home, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge. They're going to be hosting the Owls of Rice. And this one will be on ESPN University. Mike Cousins and Kirk Morrison on the call. And LSU, oh my goodness. Theme of the show, another big spread. 42 to 42.5 point spread for LSU. And yeah, okay. The Owls are 1-10, and despite some minor improvements, will be overrun by the Tigers in their home finale. LSU could run it up here, but they will probably just build a big first half lead and move on to Texas A&M. It really depends on whether the Owls score. But nonetheless, I got LSU in a rout, 48-7, all LSU. Nothing more to say, Bullock. I promise this should be the last Zonk game of the week here.
Yeah, LSU, they're going to win big over Rice. 52-7 is going to be my final score, so nothing more to say. Let's move on to an 8 o'clock matchup, and this one here should be good.
So good. I'm gonna call this the number 2 game of the week. Yeah, the second best game of the week, and I'm really looking forward to this one. But too bad it's going to clash with the NXT TakeOver War Games. I mean, busy Saturday night indeed. But nonetheless, it's 8 o'clock on ABC, the Saturday night game of the week. The number 11 UCF Knights hosting the number 24 Cincinnati Bearcats at Spectrum Stadium in Orlando, Florida. The Saturday night game of the week. And, of course, you know who's working it. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor. They will be in Orlando for this one. And we have UCF opening up as 7 to 7.5 point favorites. Oh, man. Bullock, first off, College Game Day is going to be there. And this game has huge American Athletic Conference Eastern Division implications if there ever were one.
Oh, yes. This definitely has definitely some implications here. I mean, because to me, I mean, I'm going to say this, Florio. Whoever wins this game is definitely going to be representing the American Athletic Conference. I mean, Eastern Division in the conference title game in a couple of weeks. So, and the thing is, the Knights, they'll be putting their 22 game winning streak on the line. What could be their toughest test yet against the 9-1 Cincinnati Bearcats, who have won 3 in a row since they lost last month to Temple 24-17. With UCF claiming a national championship after finishing 13-0 and clamoring for more recognition and higher ranking this year, the game has drawn considerable national attention. And like you said, College Game Day is definitely going to be there. And yeah, it's definitely, I mean, they're going to be getting their time. So yeah, Knights coach Josh Heupel, who took over the program when Scott Frost left for Nebraska, isn't exactly downplaying the significance of the matchup, but he also is taking a cautionary approach, and he calls all the hoopla outside noise. So, and in his second season, Cincinnati's Luke Fickell is well aware of the effect the pregame atmosphere could have on his team. So, and the Bearcats, who already have a 1,000-yard rusher in running back Michael Warren, and they have a defense that has limited opponents to just over 277 yards per game overall, the sixth stingiest in the country. UCF has averaged 271 yards rushing at home. Quarterback Mackenzie Milton has averaged better than 200, 288 yards per game passing. So this is going to be a good one here. So, man, this is going to be a tough one for me to call. Part of me is telling me to go with UCF. Another tells me to go with the upset. So, wow. And you know what? I'm going to pull an MF here. I'm calling for the upset. The Bearcats beat UCF. I'm going to say 28-24, and I think the defense will do just enough to stop UCF. But to me, I would not be surprised if UCF ends up winning it. So, Florio, it is yours.
Wow, how in the world am I gonna follow that? My goodness. But okay. Cincinnati represents what should be the Knights' biggest test to date this season. The 9-1 Bearcats still have a shot to win the AAC East Division, but they would need to beat UCF and hope that Temple loses to South Florida or UConn in the last 2 weeks of the regular season. Luke Fickell has this team playing great football in just his second season, but will that be enough to overcome Mackenzie Milton, UCF, and their 22-game win streak? I'm sorry, Bullock. I mean, the Bearcats come close, but I think they barely miss in the end. Yes, the Knights get the game day spotlight, and it's against the best team they've seen to this point of the season. Cincinnati has played above expectations under second-year coach Luke Fickell, and their only loss this season was by 7 points to 6-4 Temple. It's a test. It's a test for UCF's offense too, knowing the Bearcats have not given up more than 30 points in a game this season. That ends here. So 31-28, UCF survives. That's all there is to say. Another 8 o'clock kickoff, number 3 game of the week. The number 15 Texas Longhorns at home at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin, hosting the Iowa State Cyclones. And this will be on the Longhorn Network with Lowell Galindo and Ahmad Brooks. And Texas opening up as 2.5 to 3-point favorites. A must-win Big 12 elimination game for both teams who can still make the Big 12 championship game depending on the last 2 weeks of the regular season. Seriously. The Longhorns have shown they can score with the best of the Big 12, but have struggled on the defensive side of the ball, giving up an average of 34.7 points a game in its last 3 outings. Iowa State, coming off a 4-game win streak that includes Oklahoma State and West Virginia, isn't quite as explosive as other Big 12 teams and will be without running back David Montgomery for the first half after he brawled with a Baylor player. It might be too much to ask Iowa State to get the upset without him playing a full game. Texas's up-and-down season continues, and both of these teams still have a shot at the Big 12 championship game. The Longhorns have played in 6 consecutive one-score games, but they run into the winners of 5 straight in the Cyclones. So, tough to call, but with this game being in Texas, I have to go with Texas to win. My final score, I'm going to go 34-27. Texas over Iowa State. Should be a great matchup. Nothing more to say. So, Bullock, Iowa State and Texas, number 3 game of the week.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is definitely the number 3 game of the week here, and yeah, I got Texas beating Iowa State as well. I mean, and they continue to keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. So I'm gonna say 30. I'm gonna go 31-27 is gonna be my final as Texas beats Iowa State. So let's move on to our final game of the week.
It'll be at 10:30 on ESPN, their Pac-12 After Dark. Another sleeper matchup, the number 8 Washington State Cougars at home at Martin Stadium in Pullman, Washington. They're going to be hosting the Arizona Wildcats. And on the call for that one will be, let me see, Bob Wischusen, Brock Heward, and Allison Williams. They will have it. And we have Washington State, opening up as 9.5-point favorites. So Bullock, I think I know who you're going with, but your thoughts on this Pac-12 After Dark matchup?
Yeah, I mean, this should be another good one. Not as close as some of the other ones here. I mean, Washington State continues to be really impressive this season. I mean, the only good thing for Arizona is their running game, of course, with J.J. Taylor over 1,200 yards rushing. So, but I still think in the end it's not going to be enough. So I got Washington State winning this one. So, Florio, it is yours.
Indeed. Can Wazoo keep its playoff hopes and the Pac-12s alive? The next test is Arizona, winner of its last two against Oregon and Colorado. That starts with Khalil Tate, who put up 539 passing yards and 8 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions against the Ducks and the Buffaloes, and who last season led an upset against number 15 Washington State by passing for 275 yards and a touchdown and rushing for 146 yards and another score. As long as he's on the field, the Wildcats will have a chance, but the Cougars have more to play for this time around and will find a way to win behind the arm of their quarterback, Gardner Minshew. Stay up late and watch Washington State take another step toward a Pac-12 North championship. The Wildcats have won back-to-back games but are 1-3 on the road this season. Washington State is 9-1 against the spread, but that changes this week. So I'm going with Washington State to win. Final score, I'm going to go 35-30, Washington State over Arizona. So really nothing more to say here. We do have one quick order of business to wrap up, and that is the power poll. And don't worry, Bullock, I got it as always. So, and I know you're going to agree with me on everything. So, because you usually do. So with all that, let's dive on in here and see what we got. All right, just bear with me for a moment. And of course, we couldn't do our power poll last week. You know the reasoning behind that. So, all right. So here we go. My number 10, UCF. Navy passed twice. So what did it expect against an explosive UCF? Certainly not a comeback. The Knights got up 21-3 and held on. The AAC East will not go quietly with Temple beating Houston. The Knights become only the third team of the wire service era to score at least 30 in 22 straight games. Number 9, LSU. You would expect a letdown after the Alabama game. You got one. The Tigers had a comfortable 24-3 lead at Arkansas going into the fourth quarter. The defense held the Hogs to 19 rushing yards. New Year's Six Bowl still a possibility. Number 8, West Virginia. Will Grier threw for at least 3 touchdowns for the 8th time this season in an obliteration of TCU. 4 of the Mountaineers' 6 touchdown drives took less than 90 seconds. Ready for a season-ending run against Oklahoma State in Oklahoma. Number 7, I'm going with Washington State. The Cougars gave their best defensive effort of the season, 31-7 over Colorado. The Mississippi mustache, Gardner Minshew, threw for 335 yards and 2 touchdowns. Washington State continues to wait in the green room with Georgia, Oklahoma, and West Virginia to enter into the playoff picture if any of the top 4 should lose. Number 6, Oklahoma, 95 points, 1,342 yards in Bedlam. Basically came down to a missed extra point by Oklahoma State. Kudos to Coach Mike Gundy for going for the win with a 2-point conversion try with 73 seconds left. Meanwhile, the style points for the Sooners are drying up. The CFP selection committee has watched the Sooners give up 93 points in the last 2 weeks and win by a total of 6 points. Number 5, Made in Georgia Bulldogs. DeAndre Swift continues to act his last name. Georgia's sophomore tailback rushed for a career-best 186 yards and a 17-point win over Auburn. Swift is averaging 9.9 yards a carry in the last 3 games against Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn. Number 4, Michigan call it an efficient evisceration of Rutgers, 42-7. Coach Jim Harbaugh lightened up the postgame when he apparently called Chris Ash by the name Rob. All that matters is that we know who the Wolverines are these last 2 weeks. That being the team in the Big Ten. Number 3, Notre Dame. Florida State was beaten the moment the Noles stepped off the bus in the 27-degree temperatures. It had been 80 in Tallahassee. Notre Dame sets up a dangerous Syracuse game with a 42-13 win. What did you expect? Florida State played its 9th different offensive line combination in 10 games. Number 2, Clemson. I was most intrigued by Trevor Lawrence, the runner. Lawrence ran for his first career touchdown and threw for 295 yards at Boston College. The BC defense kept it close, but with only 96 yards in total offense, the Eagles weren't coming close. Clemson clinched its 4th straight ACC Atlantic Division title. And number 1, of course, it's Alabama. The defense has now gone more than 9 quarters, covering 3 games without allowing a point, including back-to-back shutouts after a 24-0 skunking of Mississippi State. For the record, the Zeros extend 142 minutes, 17 seconds of playing time. Shouldn't we be more concerned about Tua's quad/knee? So that's all I can say on that. So that's it. The special Wednesday edition of College Football Thursday is in the books. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, we'll be back with you. We'll shoot for 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And I'll tell you this, and this time we'll start right on time. We're not going to wait for MF. We'll start, and if MF comes in, then we'll catch him up on what he missed simply. So I do apologize for the delay, but at least we got the show in, so that's all that matters. So tomorrow night we have a special Thursday edition of NFL Friday. I mean, what a show it's going to be. I mean, so many great matchups. Of course, the headliner, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Rams. And then don't forget, Friday night at 10:30, our huge Wrestling Forum show as we preview NXT TakeOver War Games and the Survivor Series. And then Sunday night, of course, the Survivor Series recap over on MF's channel, BraceFan95. And then, of course, Ridiculously Raw next Monday, Cerebral Smack Talk next Tuesday. And of course, next Wednesday, it's Football Feast, our annual Football Feast show next Wednesday night. I mean, you know what we do with that. I mean, we run down all the college football games, and of course, we preview the 3 Thanksgiving NFL games, and that's pretty much it. And of course, we got a big football feast next week. Oh boy, do we! Michigan and Ohio State. Hello. How about UCF and South Florida? How about Oklahoma and West Virginia? Washington and Washington State in the Apple Cup. I mean, Georgia Tech against Georgia, Syracuse against Boston College. Rivalry week, of course, the Iron Bowl, Auburn and Alabama. I mean, Notre Dame and USC. I mean, Utah State and Boise State. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a football feast next Wednesday night, let me tell you. So that's pretty much it on that. And, of course, the 3 NFL Thanksgiving games, we'll talk about that tomorrow night. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for our special Thursday edition of NFL Friday, it's Anthony Floyo here for Michael Bullock and in spirit. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher, Dede Woodson, and Derek Forever. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up 14-4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Thursday. And until tomorrow night for our special Thursday edition of NFL Friday, you've been watching this special Wednesday edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on Zone 25 and YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one. For now, Anthony Floyo, so long. And bye, everybody. Bye.